Hello and welcome to part 4 of the tutorial for the writeevolution.com website. In this part, we're going to talk about two features that have to do with the actual writing and editing of either story or chapter draft for a story, or if you're an editor, editing a chapter of the story after it's been selected among multiple drafts by voting. So let's start with the latter. And I'm logged in here as admin, so I have both the writer and the editor roles. And I'm looking at chapter 1 of the story Leave It to Cleaver. The chapter is called Wally's Sports Coat. And I'm just looking at what's already been written. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this. And conveniently, I have the edit window open on the tab here, and let's just refresh it. Uh, so we can see that the last save I made was about a minute ago. So we have a feature where you can type some more of the chapter, or in this case, edit it, and hit save, and it will save it to the database. We also have an autosave feature just in case you get caught up in the writing and maybe you forget to save it for 20 minutes. And just to avoid the risk of anything getting lost for any reason, we're going to automatically save this to the database every 2 or 3 minutes. And for the purposes of the demo, I have it set at every 5 seconds, just so we can actually see it in action. But in the real site, it'll be a minute or two, or possibly three. So we can see this updating here quickly because it's every 5 seconds. And since I'm not typing anything, it's basically saying my last save was a minute ago, or it will update every 5 seconds. So let's actually, and if we refresh the uh, the actual reader page here, we don't see any changes. So let's just add another paragraph here. And this isn't actually what an editor would do. He'd be actually editing what exists, but just for the purpose of this demo, let's do that. So I added a new paragraph, and as you can see, 5 seconds elapsed, and it says last save just now, and then 5 seconds ago, and whatnot, since I haven't made any more updates. So let's just make another real obvious one here. I made an edit, and we'll watch that now. In a few seconds, it'll update to just now. So without hitting save in this window, if I go to the reader view and I refresh this screen, I'll see my changes there, which shows that they've actually been saved to the database. Of course, I also have the option of doing a manual edit, which may not make sense here because it's updating so often, but do manual edit, and let's hit save down here. And I think the autosave caught it before we did, but it'll work as well. So either way, this basically ensures that nothing will get lost due to the writer falling asleep or some other, the site going down for some reason. It'll be backed up frequently enough that your work will still be there. And so let's look at another feature, and this will also eventually be in the edit room for the editor. Right now it's only in the writing room for the contributing writers. So I'm looking at chapter 1 here of the story First Day in California. Chapter 1, which is my version of this chapter. There might be other writers that have different versions, but my version is called San Francisco, and you can see I've written some things here. So we can also save, we can also archive a version of our chapter. Um, and that's helpful if, say, we want to go back and see what we wrote about a week ago that's much different from how we evolved it now. We could save different versions of our draft. So here you can see I have 3 versions of this chapter which I'm writing. So 3 versions of my draft. The current one, which is the latest, the first one, and the second one. So let's go. This is the edit view for what we just looked at, and just refresh it to make sure everything's up to date. And we're going to update this and create a new version of our draft. So San Francisco nights. And let's just write some text here. It was a full moon, etc., etc. And quickly, you can see that this also has the autosave feature. However, this is more realistic. Since this is in demo mode, we're updating this every 2 or 3 minutes. So this isn't really going to disrupt this demo. So at the bottom, you can see I have save and archive. Save will basically just save this version. It won't create a new version. But if I do archive, we can see everything got updated. This was version 3. It's now version 4. On here, I haven't refreshed the page, so it still says version 3 and 3. But if we refresh it, we see version 4. We see our updated title. We see the updated content. And we can see that the past 3 versions, which have been archived, are still available. And we can view those by selecting them. And if we go back to the very first one, actually, they're pretty much the same, but they're actually different versions. Um, and this is also important, just not only to be able to go back and review maybe what you've written a week ago, if you kind of evolved it in a way and wanted to see what it looked like before, maybe you wanted to bring a character back or something. But also, this might rarely happen, but if you accidentally uh, save a blank chapter, instead of your work being completely erased and gone, you'll have a backup version or multiple backup versions that you can go to. And even though that will rarely happen, it could happen. You know, things happen with computers once in a while, and it'll be nice just to have that redundancy there. So I think that pretty much completes part 4 of the tutorial.